Hello folks, it's Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness. It's mid-afternoon here. We're gonna play another turn of Maharaja. It is on turn 14. There's gonna be some potential interesting action here. There's a leader coming on from the Mughals. The French get a leader and up to 2 armies. They already have 2 on the board, they're max 3, so if they lose one, by the time they come on, they could have 2. The British get 4 armies. The Maharathas actually get a leader and 2 armies as reinforcements. They've been around for a long time. This is got a strange piece of history. I'd like to find out what's going on. Who's this Rao dude? What happened with the Maharathas in the 1700s, early 1700s? A couple things we want to note about the colonial arms situation on the board. So remember that the Portuguese had managed to give the Mughals colonial arms. They had built factories that the Mughals were shared. The Portuguese have at least 1 army somewhere on the subcontinent, therefore be able to grant. And last turn, they were able to use them. And as long as the Portuguese, that stays true, that the Mughals are sharing space with 1 or more factories, and somewhere the Portuguese have troops on the landmass. The Portuguese are down to 2 armies. They're not getting any more. Right now there's 1 at sea, 1 here. If they lose it, the Mughals, or whoever currently has their colonial arms from that nation, could lose it immediately, depending on what happens with that situation. The Sinhalese were going to get colonial arms this turn. The Dutch had built a factory here and said, hey, I'm going to give it to the Sinhalese, but the British showed up, killed that factory. So we have to remove this because, bonk, there is no Sinhalese sharing with the Dutch factory. The Dutch factory is over here where the Dutch actually are. But right now, yeah, the Sinhalese can't keep that to deploy that this turn. And the reason why there's no French arms assigned to anyone is last turn, the French built factories on this coast here in the Marathas provinces because they had troops out at sea. That's one of the ways that you can build a factory, either beat it there yourself as the colonial power, or, sort of from by sea, grant it to someone who's friendly, who's going to say yes. But that meant that the French had no armies on the Indian subcontinent, and therefore cannot grant arms. So if they land sometime this turn, at the end of their turn, they could grant arms later. All right, so that's a little clarification on the colonial arms situation. Let's start in. A quick reminder of the point totals. It's very close now. The green guy scored all sorts of points. It was within 1 point of the next, the purple guys. And the yellow, which are ahead and have been ahead, but really don't have much. They have got the Sinhalese and the Dutch left, and that's it. They're still trying to hold on to a lead, and the blue guys are close by. So it's very tight, but this green guy just came on like gangbusters, especially, the Mughals scored big-time points. So can they keep that up? Let's find out. No Pandyas, no Greeks, no Afghans. Marathas. Okay, Marathas, they are down to 2 territories. That's Muslim. The rest of this is all Muslim. They got pounded on, remember? They lost some stuff. They do have 2.5 pop. They have 2 territories worth a half each. That's adding 1. So they will get to grow an army and have a half left. Boom, boom. So grab that Marathas army here, and they get their 2 reinforcements and their leader. Now, point-wise, they're one of the few people that can actually score points this turn on turn 14. It says Mughals and Marathas. Mughals, of all weird places, can score Andhra this turn, which is over here, so you never know what action's going to happen here. The Marathas get points for any and each area in North India. So now it's like, Raid, do something. Got to find out about that history. I'm waiting for them books to arrive from Noble Knight Games. Where are they, guys? So potentially points there. As usual, the colonials, Portuguese, Dutch, British, French, can always score each turn their factory points, factories and coastal control. But no other Indian nation is going to score points this turn, except for the incidental, like destroying a leader, destroying armies of certain nationalities when that's on their card. So the Marathas also have boats. That's kind of interesting factor here, because these Marathas are nowhere near North India. Well, they're here. They could go into Gupta, but there's 5 armies there and a factory. Yeah, so they could potentially use boats and go and attack. Now, the French are out at sea here, and they would let the Marathas go by. Because the colonial power at sea can block Indian sea movement. Now, remember, this is Himalaya, not part of North India. So they couldn't come out and just land there and try to score 3 easy points. Their only real target, potentially, is to hit Bengal. If they went out at sea this way, the Portuguese would block, because maybe they want to go, oh, here's an easy target. I'm going to hit Baluchistan. It's only got 1 Mughal in there. And by the way, Marathas do get points for hitting and destroying Mughals. So that's a tempting target to go up there, but they would be blocked. The Portuguese would say, no. Now, the Indians can go out to sea and fight a colonial power. However, if they succeed, and remember, these guys are only hit in a 6, and normal armies are hit back in a 5, and the Brits had 1, so they could kill them on a 4, 5, 6. They only hit them on a 6. That's crazy odds. Wouldn't want to do that. Marathas are getting a leader. They could bring that with them. But when Indians fight colonials at sea, they must land. They can't stay at sea, and they must land in a place where there's friendly armies, the same nation, or empty. So if this was empty, they could be sailing out here. They could fight the Portuguese. They could finish them off. They could continue, land here. But they can't go and fight someone else, all right? So the Indian boats in the face of colonial sea power, no. So they're not going to go there. Now, so the Marathas grew 1 guy. Now you have to spread out your reinforcements in the growth phase, and that's when these reinforcements come on. There are only 2 squares. Are they going to lose the last guy? Well, no. You can grow up to the stacking limit of each territory, and normally you can only have 2 guys in a Hillens, 3 guys in a clear, but you can have 1 stack. 1 stack that exceeds that, so that's either unlimited in a clear or 4 in the Hillens. So they can place their extra guy to go up to 3. And let's put the leader there. So there's now 2 here, 3 here. And let's go to sea. Let's use the boats. You don't actually need the counter for anything. Let's sail. The French say, sure, you can sail here. Let's go ahead and hit the Mughals in Bengal, potentially scoring a point. Remember, that factory is Portuguese factory. It fights as a regular army. The Mughal is a regular army, not a colonial power. The Mughals would not score points for this factory. They do not get points for destroying Portuguese factories. They actually do get points for destroying British factories, if that were British, but it's not the case. So, I'm going to leave 2 guys here, because on turn 16, the very end of the game, they can get 3 points from Maharashtra. So, yeah. So there they are. There's one out. They came with 2. So let's do that battle. There's 2 attacking guys and 2 defending guys, and I can use the same dice because they're fighting the same way. Now, if that was a colonial army in there, you'd need to know a separate dice for defense, like, because they hit better, right? So the attacking dice are going to add 1 for the leader. The defenders need 5 6s. The attacking needs 5 6s, but they're adding 1. So do Wish-wash, wishy-swash. Nothing happens. Well, Mughal got to decide. Does he want to stay alive? He can always counterattack and try to kill that guy now. He is at a disadvantage. I think he would retreat. I'm gonna say that. I think he would retreat. And I'm gonna retreat to say, like, here it's a little more, you know, if I went to the coast here, I mean, he could, well, this leader's going away. Go away at the beginning of their turn. They're getting another leader. And where they put that, who knows. But I think I'm going to go there. All right. So the factory does not retreat. Cannot retreat. And so the Bengals missed out, the Marathas in Bengal missed out on the opportunity to kill a Mughal, but they're still going to try to take that province because that's in North India, and that's going to be worth 3 points, sorry. 3 points, turn 14, if they hold it at the end of their turn. This is still a end of the turn thingy for everyone's turn. It doesn't say at any time during their turn. So we're back to this, still adding 1. Attacking dice. Wow, they made it. So they did kill this factory. The Portuguese lose a factory there. The Bengals have successfully used the boats. We'll just have it hang out there for fun. Again, the counter is only representative that you have boats. I mean, you could be sailing around on multiple sides. They could have come out this way too, because this guy touches too. They could have, like, fought the Sinhalese or something like that. Silliness, but all right. So they did not get points for killing a Mughal. They will get points if they still hold it for 1 province in northern India. The Marathas are done. There are no Cholas, no Marians, Harapans. The Sinhalese lost armies when the British hit, so they can actually grow. They get 1, 2.5 points. They were at 2.5, so that's 5 total. Spend 3, have 2 left over, and get an army. Now, the Sinhalese can submit if they are down to 1 province in Ceylon. So, like, if they got attacked, if the Brits started to move in here, whatever, they could submit. Now, if they submit to the Brits, they must ally with them. They must. That's one of the things about the Brits. Submitting to the Brits means, oh, you got to go ahead and do the thing to ally with them, where you sacrifice 1 army or your growth potential. And then you now are friendly with the Brits. You can't fight the Brits. They can't stay in your territories, but I believe they can move through them. But one of the big advantages for the Brits is any allies the Brits can count for Raj points. Now, I wanted to rewind a quick, not rewind something, but I want to go back and mention, last turn, the British almost had enough to score Raj points. How is that, you say? They only have 2 squares where they have any occupation, and it's their armies, their factories. You know, if they had given a factory to some other, well, the problem is these purple guys are not on the coast where there can be factories. That's only 2 points. Well, there's also the empty squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 8 total provinces are swearing to the Brits. You only need 9 for Raja getting a point. So they were that close. If I thought about it, maybe one of these guys might have allied. In fact, I'm going to do that this turn. I'm going to have 1 or more of the Rajputs or Sikhs ally with the Brits. There's no precondition. You don't have to, you're not having to submit. You can just do it. You can just say, I'm declaring ally, and you make the sacrifice of the army or the growth token. So, back to the Sinhalese turn. They won't score any more points until turn 16. Lanka and Sinhala with 2 points each. They know they can keep Sinhala safe by submitting. So even if they submit to the Brits and become a British ally, and the ally can count them for Raj points, that they'll still control this territory. Lanka, now, if they do submit to the Brits, Lanka is... Oh, wait a minute. Can you... No, once you're allied, you can't, right? You can't. So that's the problem. They'll never get Lanka back. Never. Unless someone else comes in. Like there's 3 British here. They're not going to stay here with 3 armies. They might leave. Between the French, the Portuguese, the Dutch, bang, bang, they might smack on each other. This province might get lost, and the Sinhalese might take it back. So right now, that's the only places they can get points for. They're probably going to just grow here on the coast. Again, they don't need defense there because they could always submit. They can spread out, keep other people from getting stuff. Maybe they're going to take Mysore, have enough places to retreat or whatnot. Yep. I think let's do that. They're going to spread out. Sinhalese. Sikhs. The Sikhs. All right, the Sikhs. They have 2 provinces, Punjab, Lahore. They get 2 growth points, which isn't enough, but they can grow next turn. Now, there is turn 14, 15, 16. They have the potential to grow another army or 2. Potentially over the next one. So if they elect to ally with the British, to let the British potentially get more points, helping the purple player, they probably don't want to sacrifice their growth marker because they're going to easily grow like one next turn and could get another one before the end. So they probably want to sacrifice an army. Let's go attack and fight. And then, now, Sikhs get points for killing Mughal armies. And they won't get any more points for territories until, but Lahore and Punjab, if they can keep a hold of those, they have them. And other areas in North India. They might go. I think they... I don't want to spread out too much, get too weak. I probably don't want to attack there 2 on 2, but we can come over to Baluchistan. Attack 2 armies on 1. This guy will have nowhere to retreat to. He has to stay and fight to the bloody end. That's a potential point there. If they don't lose any army, they can sacrifice one of those. They'll have expanded their base, and next turn they'll definitely grow and have some left over. And they will be allied, and they'll be getting all those territory points to the British potentially to get Raja, Maharaja, etc. So let's do that. So 2 dice for attack, 1 dice on defense. Dear guy, all needing 5s or 6s. Whoosh, nothing happens. They cannot retreat. So this is where you just keep pounding away until something happens. Battle. Wow. All right. Come on, guys. Something can happen. Okay, they finally killed the Mughal guy and didn't lose anything. So there they are. They've spread out. I want to put that Mughal on the Sikhs thing there. They will get the 1 point for it. And then, yeah, let's just go ahead and do this now. Let's commit them to being an ally with the British. There they are. So the Brits will be able to get, right now, well, at the end of the British turn, if those aren't dead, right now they potentially have 3 more, plus all those unoccupied, plus what did the British grow in their turn, because they are getting 4 more armies. So we will see. Sikhs are done. Rajputs, more purple guys. So Rajputs don't have any stored up. They have 2 areas. Now the Rajputs could do something similar. They only have 3 armies instead of 2. Rajputs get points for killing Muslims. 2 points. They are not near the Muslims. But the Muslims... turn 15... they potentially get some points for hitting some stuff north. So they may come north, but not yet. So what do the Rajputs want to do? They could just sit. Raj, turn. 16, 2 points. Yeah, they could just sit there, keep their guys, try to go again next turn, and then maybe do something more interesting. So they're not going to do that yet. This move to ally will potentially give the British enough points to get Raja, unless someone goes and occupies all these empty things. Says, no, I'm not going to let, that's something that the Mughals might do, spread out. Instead of doing these big fights, they might try to say, I don't want to give the Brits any open territories there. And in fact, remember, the Mughals can score Raj points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have 9 right now. Yeah, they can do that again. Yeah, they got 1 point last turn from Raj. So we'll see. Yeah, the Rajputs are just going to stay put. Rajputs will stay put. This turn. Yep. All right. Well, the leaders. There are none of those leaders out and about nearby that they can pound on. Well, Alamagur is actually way over here. He's on the border now. He'll be removed at the beginning of the Mughal turn. Rajputs cannot reach. They can't kill that guy, so no. Done with the Rajputs. No Guptas. Muslims. All right. Now you have to remember, the Muslims' growth is only in South India, which they are occupying. They migrated. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these half-point value provinces. So that's 2 growth. They only had a 0. So they're poised to grow next turn. Next turn, nothing on turn 14 for them, but next turn, 15 at any time, so they can potentially hit stuff and don't have to hold it. Delhi, that's a ways away. That's 3 squares away. Lahore and Punjab. Punjab is 3 away. Lahore is 3 away going that way. And each other northern unity. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to try to drive way up here in the north. They could potentially try to take a territory to get a foothold in there, or just wait until turn 15 to do that. If they wanted to try to make it all the way up to those other bigger point scores, they would have to start now fighting their way in there. Now, the Muslims, they get points for killing leaders. Alamagur. Well, they could try to jump on this, but man, that leader is there right now. The arms is there. They're adding 2 dice. That would be blood bath. No, that's crazy talk. So, just because there's points available doesn't mean you should. Just because you can. Remember that in life. Many things. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So just because you can get points for that leader doesn't mean that you should try. You have to weigh the costs, benefits, risks. Yeah, don't be that guy that that always just goes for the high points, no matter what. No, don't do that. Alrighty, so the Muslims here. The French. What might the French do? The French are going to want to try to grow another factory. They could potentially put it there in Bengal. They've got this factory here that can be on either side. So it can be for the south coast or that here. So yeah, I think the French are going to probably once again build another factory for the Marathas. And the French, wow, where would the French want to try to land with an army? And they're going to get a leader. So yeah, they're going to probably try to fight their way ashore somewhere so that they can give the Marathas next turn arms. Now, the other alternative is the Muslims could try to fight and take a coast. the only thing that they're next to, they're not, again, they're not going to fight this. And the Dutch here, yeah, the Mughals get big points for that. Yeah, I think they just weaken themselves too much. It's silly. They want to try to score points. Oh, that's right. They got that weird turn 16. They can score 3 for Mysore. And they're not near it. The Marathas in the way. The Dutch factories. So they're here in Bidar, but they can't really get to Mysore. But, you know, there's a couple of turns. There's the rest of this turn and 15, 16. So, wow, are the Muslims just going to kind of wimp out? Do they prematurely, like, go and attack Malwa? Yeah, there's no... Yeah, Delhi, Punjab, Lahore. Those are the turn 15 big points, 3 or 2. And they unless someone ran or they had a big enough stack that they could overrun next turn. Wow, they could try to, like, yeah, if they attacked into here with 2 and had both 2 live, and then spread out. Next turn they get their reinforcement here, 3. They could put 2. They can only attack with 1. So, yeah, again, that's like a bridge too far. You're trying to, like, will this work and this work and this work? And I can win some points, but wow, that's too much all at once. So no. But they might want to attack Malwa. Now, interestingly, this would cut the Maharathas, the Mughals, in half. That these guys could not spread out and go here. Now, of course, that makes them a big target. I just think the Muslims are going to sit. I think they're going to sit. Now, the potentialness of going this way, I think they're going to move an army here. They're going to have 3. And again, you can normally only have 2. You can have 1 stack that exceeds that. So you could have up to 4 in 1 stack. In a Hillens, they're going to have just 3. They're going to spread out like this. And then hope maybe the last turn that they can get something up there. I mean, as a minimum, they can get a point for each other area in North India on turn 15. So they could hit a couple of small ones or something like that. All right, Muslims are done. Plop, 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 plop. Mughals. Ugh. Big old Mughals. Now, Mughals still have their growth. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they get 3 armies and have no leftover because they had no leftover. And last time they got 4, right? So they're not quite as big and strong as they were, but they are still big and strong. And they get a leader. Yes. Nizam, right? Yeah, I think that's what it says. Okay, so turn 14, Andrew. They're obviously going to... Oh, yes. We need to remove that leader. They do still have the arms. The Portuguese didn't lose their factory. They're still sharing with the factory. They lost this one. The Mughals lost that factory, but they kept this factory over here. Got to point at what I'm showing here. So they get to keep their arms. Right? So they get 3 armies and a leader. They can potentially spread out and get... Yeah, they have 9. They'll get Raj. If they could manage to take 9 more provinces, they could be Maharaja. There's empty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they would have to fight. Wow, is that possible? Is it possible? If they took this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it just doesn't seem that's the stretch of ridiculousness. I mean, the fact that, yeah, see, this guy would have to spread out here. He would move up here. He would move up here. Some of these guys would have to spread out. Oh, this is also empty at this moment. Huh. Interesting. Was that always empty? Maybe the British might have had enough points last turn to get Raj. But too late, too late. We'll pay attention to it now more carefully. Bum, 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 bum. Or I think I needed 2 more. But anyway, big decisions. Well, obviously they want to take Andhra. That's a definite. And this is going into the Hilllands. So even though normally a factory is only hit on a 5 or 6, because it's in the Hilllands, it's hit on a 6. The Dutch as a colonial are already only hit on a 6. You don't get an extra defensive bonus being colonial in the Hilllands. You still just hit on a 6, and then you add the whatever bonuses. But they could have arms and the leader. So yeah, that's a nice fun blood. Yeah, let's assume that we're going in there. God, does he want to spank down on those guys, make them pay for what they did? Who is that? That's Rao. Well, they could actually score a point for killing Rao. That's on the list. It's on the list. Bloodbath, or spread out, bloodbath. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to move into here unless they did jump on this guy. But that's worth 4 points. 4. So let's do that for certain. Now, so we're gonna put the leader there. We're gonna spread out the points. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. So you can go either direction. Trying to figure out what I want to do. Spread out, where there is no doubt. I'd put one here. That's where he retreated to. I can put another one there. Oh, wait, no. Remember, this guy is in excess. This guy has 5 armies in it over here. He's the one guy that's exceeding the stacking limit right now. So you can only have 3 armies normally. 3 and 2. So we cannot put this up to 4 with the reinforcement phase. So we got to spread out here like this. And then they can move in. Something to remember. All right. So they're going to want to spread out because we want to overstack here. We want to have our 4 armies going in here. We want to beat this down thoroughly and get our 4 points for certain Mughals. Ahoy. Mughals, again, do not get any points for destroying any particular army nationality, but they do have those things, but I don't think they're going to go against the round. No. Okay, so they're going in with 4. That. Now, do they... The Rajputs can submit if they're down to 2 or more. So the Rajputs can submit. The Sikhs can submit if they're down to 1 area in North India. So potentially the Mughals could attack one of the Sikh armies. Yeah, they could attack one of the Sikh armies. Indeed. Let's do that. Over here, we're going to take 2 up here. This guy's going to spread out. They're going to just control as many as they can. One of these can go here. That can go up there. We're spreading out, spreading out. So yeah, if they spread out and they take that yeah, maybe I think we want to leave at least 2 at that factory, and maybe who goes next after the Mughals? The Portuguese. Okay, so yeah, this is very convenient, the Mughal-Portuguese combination here, because right after the Mughals go, the Portuguese in their turn can go and build a factory somewhere. And they could even play the game. This might sound a little weird. Well, they could remove the arms and give it back to them, but it wouldn't be on the board. So by leaving the arms is here in this square. And so anyone who attacked, but if they wanted, like, I want to be able to get the arms over here, they could pull it off and then give it to them again. So there's some thought to that where you do your arm shipments to, etc. All right, so last thoughts here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I was thinking of moving one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh yeah, you just you can't split up that much and yeah, I think they may want to keep here again that protect the coast, incent the Portuguese to, like, hey, give me more factories here, keep them alive. Again, they have one on this coast. This guy can be this coast. They would have to move, well, yeah, so this one guy could move by sea over here to give them a factory. Got to keep one guy here on the land to be able to keep and maintain the arms. And the Portuguese are just like, hey, don't wipe me out. Now, if they hadn't lost a factory, you know, they could have all just holed up on the coast. You know, they're protecting that factory and protecting their presence on the land to maintain the arms for the Mughals as the Mughals try to go pound on. Yeah, they're pounding on an enemy. They're, all right, let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do this little fight over here first. Yay. Now, the Sikhs can retreat to their own province. It's the only place they go. They can't go to Ladakh because that is next to Kashmir or, you know, 3 other provinces that have Mughals in it that, you know, aren't this province that they're talking about. They can't. They can only retreat to there, Punjab. All right, let's do it. Boom, boom, boom. Miss, miss, miss. The Sikhs will retreat. They'll try to keep themselves alive. Remember, they did grow 2. As long as they can grow 1 or 2, they'll get another population next time. But no sense in staying there fighting at a disadvantage at this point. So they have retreated from there. Now, the big brouhaha here. Again, we have 4 armies attacking, getting +2 because the leaders and the arms. So let's get those dice out here. Now, this is the case where we need to differentiate on the defense side. The leafy die for the Dutch, the brown die for the factory, because the factory's hit on a 5 or... Well, they're both hit on a 6. It doesn't matter. They're both hit on a 6, and you got to heal the factory. In this case, in the Hillens, where you can use the same dice. They're both hit on a 6 in this case. Boom, boom, boom. And, you know, they're actually hit on a 4, 5, or 6 because they're in dice. But the base number needed is a 6. There's no differentiation for these right now other than the casualty. If there's only 1 casualty, it has to go in the Dutch army. if there's 2 or more, boom, boom, and a little bit in both. Okay, did you get that? Good. 4 dice attacking, defending. So they did succeed in getting 1 hit. There's actually 3 hits because we're adding 2. And so no natural 6s were rolled. Without that leader and or that arms, they would have had, 0 to no, 1 or 2. If it was just a +1, but because there's +2, bam, they got 3 hits. They only needed 2. So the Dutch get pounded on again, lose their factory, lose their army. The Mughals just lost 1 army.